Hello guys, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. Alright guys, so we have an article here regarding 5G and C-band spectrum. So it looks like the airline industry is saying that they're still not fully prepared for 5G. So that means this summer, flights will have delays, they're saying, as a result of 5G buildouts. So there's a lot of deployments that are coming through. A lot of carriers are trying to meet their deadlines by the summer. And airlines are saying that due to this reason, they're anticipating there's going to be a lot of problems. There's going to be a lot of delays because they're not ready yet for 5G. Now, we know that they've had quite some time to start preparing, to be prepared. And they're saying there's many flights that are still not ready. There's a lot of airlines that are still not prepared. And they're, it's an ongoing issue that we keep seeing. And it seems like it happens every year, right? It seems like every summer the same thing happens, or during the holidays, whenever flights pick up, they're using 5G as an excuse for their delays. I feel like they just need to point a finger at somebody. And now they found a perfect thing to complain about and perfect excuse for every delay that they have. They can blame it on C-band. C-band did it. We didn't do it. So I'm going to go over this article, guys, and then we'll do a little conversation. I'll tell you how I feel about it, and then we'll wrap the video up. But you can catch the link for this article in the description down below, right? So this summer, they're saying is expected to be, airlines are saying it's expected to be one of the busiest on record travel seasons, or busy. It's expected to be the busiest time in U.S. airline industry, they're saying. And we all know why. For years, people have been not going anywhere because of, the pandemic or whatnot. And this is the first summer in a while that people are starting to feel safe again, like they can travel. Like the reports have been down for a while. People are starting to feel like they can move around, and not have to worry. You don't have to wear a mask or whatnot. So people want to get out. They want to live their lives. But airlines are saying that as a result of 5G, you may be experiencing high delays. Or you maybe even worse, some flights may not even take off if they're just none of them are prepared. So what they're saying now is that 20% of the country's domestic airline fleet still has not upgraded its radio altimeters to avoid interference from 5G wireless using C-band spectrum. So these altimeters, obviously, they measure the distance from a plane, how far a plane is from the ground, and they're important when a plane is landing and it doesn't have good visibility. So the problem with a lot of older altimeters is that they weren't engineered to stay strictly in their spectrum lane, and they can pick up interference from C-band spectrum, even though there's a hefty spectrum guard between the different spectrum lanes. So the altimeter issue has been going on since late 2021. When the FAA sounded a warning that deployment of newly purchased C-band spectrum by AT&T, Verizon, and US Cellular for their 5G networks could potentially cause plane crashes because many older aircraft didn't have updated altimeters. The wireless carriers have been collaborating with FFA ever since to arrive at a solution, and they've voluntarily delayed some C-band deployments around airports to ensure airline safety. So in April this year, Verizon and AT&T agreed to give the airline industry until July 1st to complete its altimeter upgrades. All right, so that's just before 4th of July, before a lot of people start to travel. That's right around when they're going to start to travel, going away or whatnot. But now it appears that the airline industry won't meet the deadline for 100% of its fleet. And the onus is now on it as the wireless carriers are moving forward with their full C-band deployments. So Buddy Geek said that more than 80% of domestic fleet and 65% of international carriers that serve U.S. airports have updated altimeters. According to a letter he wrote last week to Airlines for America, which was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, he says, "We continue to see a significant number of aircraft still awaiting retrofit, including many operated by foreign air carriers," he wrote. "This means that on bad weather, low visibility days in particular, there could be increased delays and cancellations." So for the airplanes that don't have updated altimeters, the FAA has issued a directive mandating that they do not be allowed to make low visibility landings. So the A4A said carriers are working to update altimeters, but global supply chains continue to lag behind current demand. A4A member carriers are confident in their ability to maintain the integrity of their schedules despite the impending deadline. So this is the issue that these carriers are dealing with. Okay, they've been forced to delay a lot of their deployments. Some of them now have to come forward because they have deadlines to meet from the FCC. They don't meet those deadlines, hefty fines will be paid. So what's the carriers to do? They get backlash from the airport and they get wedged in and they're kind of stuck. They can't move out. They can't continue building out where they want or how they want because of this issue. I think that they've been, the carriers have been trying to work with the airports to, so that everybody wins, and, a lot of us don't believe that it's really an interference. Okay. That's problem number one. We don't believe that. We believe that it's a lie. Okay. Their concern is they want to say 5G is bad for you. It's bad for your health. It's bad for this. It's bad for everything. So there's that. Also, I think the airlines need someone to blame for their delays and their problems. There's going to be overscheduling, overbooking, not enough people working. They're saying this is going to be the busiest time. This summer is going to be their busiest travel time in airline history. So don't you think they need to put the blame on somebody? They're not going to be prepared. Highly doubt they're going to be prepared for this kind of volume of traffic. It's going to be planes flying everywhere. They need to have they need to blame someone to say, well, your flight was canceled because of this. It's delayed because of this, So that's why they're dragging their feet. They've had plenty of time, right, to prepare and to work on it, replace the altimeters. They're delaying. So, and this is a big problem for these carriers because they can't build out when they need to. They want to build out. They're trying to get deployments out. There's, near these airports, there's often a lot of hotels and tourist sites, which they can have deployments made, and it would attract a lot of customers, and it's good for business. It's good for the carriers. It's good for the airline. It'd be good for the shopping centers around there. It's good for that whole area of, for where people travel, and in the airport itself, service would be much quicker. Everything would be working faster. So, these carriers are losing a lot of money because they can't get those deployments out fast enough. They can't put the poles where they want. So, and not only that, a lot of these poles are like 4 miles away. So there's really no reason why it would really interfere. They're not even close. A lot of them are very far away, so to me, it just seems like they need someone to blame for delays. Okay. That's how I feel. I mean, you guys can let me know down below in the comments, but I think a lot of us can agree that, we've been dealing with this for years. We've been dealing with this for years, the back and forth. And it always comes to the same thing. The airline industry wants to blame 5G and say that it's just interrupting and it's interfering. I don't know about that. I really don't. There's plenty of poles that are up. Planes are running every day. Nothing is going wrong. Not due to 5G. Anything that happens is mechanical usually. It's not 5G. So, I don't know, guys. You can let me know below. But this is a big problem for these carriers. As long as they keep going back and forth with this, deployments will be delayed. 5G will keep dragging. And the FCC says, well, 5G is not really going where it's supposed to. Well, this is a lot of the problem. They get backlash when they try to build out. You know, if you can't build within 3 or 4 miles of an airport, you know, there's a lot of areas that are not going to get service. They're not going to get 5G because a lot of people have airports within like a 3 or 4 mile, you know, there's a lot of people in those areas that live by airports. They're heavily populated areas. They're city areas usually. And there's a lot of businesses that are going to, you know, be affected that are not going to get the service. There's a lot of residents that live in city areas because they're close to work or school or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, they got to come to terms. They got to break bread. And they got to figure out a way to work together, get it resolved, and that's it. Because basically, 5G is here to stay. They're not getting rid of it. Okay, they're already talking about 6G, which we know is garbage, and they'll never get that right. That'll take 50 years before they can figure out how to do that. But, you know, let's work on 5G. Let's get it right. Let's, you know, continue down the path. I mean, it's when the deployments are made, it's been successful. Everything works. So they got to have this conversation. They can't keep blaming these carriers for their mistakes, their issues, their lack of service. So that's how I see it, guys. All right, like I said, link will be down below in the description. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I always want to thank you guys for watching. It's much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.